afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. As always, wherever you are, we hope it is good. And also, as always, that is Lee Elias, my best friend over in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I am Ray Carcillo over in beautiful LA. Lee, how are you doing today, buddy?
Ray, I'm pretty hungry right now. I'm pretty hungry. Listen, usually at this point of the show, we come out with the non-sponsor of the week.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna lie to you, Ray. No one's biting on the non-sponsor. All these sponsors that are non-calling us. So
Dunkin', we're still available. I get my Dunkin' every day still.
I've got an idea. A few weeks ago on this show, we did a little DoorDash experiment where we wanted a hot dog. We ordered a hot dog, and it got here with 2 seconds to spare, with a little help from our one of our producers, Caitlin, handing it right to me. So I've decided that instead of the non-sponsor of the week, we're going to be introducing a new segment here on Geeks Who Like Sports for the next few weeks called the DoorDash Dash of the Week. Right. I have pre-ordered my team's lunch here from Capriotti's. It's a local hoagie shop, cheesesteak spot. Yes, how we doing in Philadelphia today? The only way to do this correctly, Ray, is to get cheesesteaks today. So today's DoorDash Dash of the Week, Capriotti's Sandwich Shop here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The time on the app, Ray. I'm going to hit continue right now. It says delivery time 18 to 30 minutes. Should we?
Okay, a little bit of a range there. All right.
Put the difference to 23 minutes?
Yeah, 24, I think. 24
I'll give them
minutes.
24. Ray, I'm about to hit the buy button. Let me first make sure that they're not tipping $78.
Yeah, that would be that. I mean,
I always like to make sure of that. And then I got to make sure that I'm using the right card, because I'm not going to get a call from my lady later yelling at me that, hey, why did you buy so much Capriotti's today? So I'm just going to double check the card real quick, because I like being married.
Of course.
Okay, we've done it. We have changed the card. The DoorDash Dash of the Week is ready. Ray, are we ready to start the clock? Do you have a clock?
I was going to say, I'm going to start the clock when you say go.
Okay. Is everybody ready? Are all of you at home listening ready? I need to hear you.
Are you ready?
Ready. Okay, here we go. 3. Do it right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. The order has been placed.
And the clock has started. All right.
All right. So we're saying 24 minutes,
24
but
minutes.
with a grace period to 30.
Yes.
Again, the food has to be
in your hand.
In my hand. So it means it's going to have to be dropped off at the door.
Right.
Our producer Caitlin will run down and get it. God bless her.
Right.
And we'll just say one of the cheesesteaks needs to be in my hand. I'll limit it though. The bag has to be in my hand.
That's fair. Yes.
Okay?
I think that's
fair. Says right here, arrives between 12:52 and 1:04 p.m. I think that's Eastern Standard Time. That's right around what we're saying.
Yes.
Okay?
1:04 p.m. would be 30 minutes from now for you.
And I do want to give a quick shout out to DoorDash. I use DoorDash all the time. I love this service. I was very hesitant in the beginning, but has become pretty much something I do multiple times a week now. Wonderful gig economy app here. DoorDash, bringing the best foods to here, because DoorDash, it's something else.
It's something else. Anyway, we have a great show for you folks today. We got a lot to talk about. We got a lot of Star Wars to talk about. We've got a little bit of Batman. We got a little bit of video games. We got a lot of sports. But yes, the clock is going for Lee's DoorDash as we speak. It's already been
Dash of the Week.
Yeah, Dash of the Week.
DoorDash Sports. Because
it's already been a minute 20.
DoorDash might not know this yet, but you're going to sponsor us, because we're going to make some fun segments here for you.
Yes, please sponsor us, please.
DoorDash is our official sponsor of Geeks Who Like Sports.
I can probably
say it with me. Right, say it with me. Say DoorDash is the official sponsor of Geeks Who Like Sports.
DoorDash is the official sponsor of Geeks Who Like Sports.
It's out there now. It's recorded. It's going to happen. Let's make it.
There we go. I use my voiceover voice. So
that was
you too. Voice? Huh?
That's your voiceover voice?
It's one of them.
Okay. Ray's got multiple personality disorders.
What was wrong with that voiceover voice?
That was way too you.
Oh.
Don't be you when you can be DoorDash. It's something else.
All right. Well.
No, Ray, it's me, Bane, DoorDash.
Yes,
I didn't know DoorDash until I was a man, and by then I was stifling hunger. Yes. Okay, we're back to the show now. We got to talk about the Stanley Cup Final.
I was about to say we got a lot to talk about. We're
I predicted a sweep. We got a sweep. 4 games. Won by the Florida Panthers. The series is over. I mean,
The
yeah,
series is over.
there was the pesky 3-game thing in the middle, but
Yeah.
they essentially swept to win the Stanley Cup.
I mean, no, it's well. I mean, we talked about this offline. Basically, well, first off, yes, congratulations to the Florida Panthers.
Congratulations, son.
The Rats have come out to
All
play.
6 of your fans, that's a joke because people tease them about having 6 fans,
Yeah,
have won the Stanley Cup. Actually,
no,
it's more like
that arena looked
thousands.
absolutely
Packed.
jumping, absolutely packed to the brim. Mostly full of Florida fans. There were a couple of Edmonton fans, but not many.
There was a lot of Edmonton people there. Not as many as the media would have you believe.
Right.
I would say a lot of people from Edmonton made the trip. I'd say
Yes.
about 10% of that arena was Edmonton Oilers fans, which is impressive, Ray, when you think about the what was it, the 27,000 miles that they traveled.
Yeah, no, I mean,
across
look. Well,
continents.
first off, I mean, if you live in Edmonton, any excuse to get out of Edmonton is a welcome one.
They have the sun here in Sunrise. It's in the name.
Yeah, no, exactly. They in fact actually Sunrise's population has actually just increased by about 10,000 people because of all those Edmonton fans. They're just like, we're just gonna stay.
Yeah, why would we leave? There's a beach here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's technically, I mean, like, there's like a frozen beach close to Edmonton or something, probably. Like,
well, I'm sure they're like, what's the temperature here in February? Is it like the winter? And the people in Sunrise went, winter?
yeah,
It's
it gets to a whopping 60 degrees down here. It's frigid.
frigid. Anyway, listen, congratulations to the Florida Panthers on
Yes.
a really an excellent cup final. The prediction that I had made was a sweep by Florida. But I also said in that episode, but what I want is a 7-game series, and it did not disappoint. The Edmonton Oilers really did battle back. I should say Connor McDavid really battled back.
Single-handedly, basically, willed his team.
Look, it was an amazing effort by the Oilers to make that 7 games. But look, it's really hard to win 4 games in a row either way of that. And the Panthers really did show up in that game 7, played their game,
Yeah.
they got back on track, and they won their first Stanley Cup in the 30-year history of the Florida Panthers organization.
Yep.
In really what was the conclusion of probably one of the greatest NHL seasons in history. I don't remember outside of my own team, right, seeing a season with so much entertainment throughout the entire year. It was a fun NHL season. They did a great job. Obviously, at the end of the Cup final, the Cup went to Florida. The Conn Smythe went to Connor McDavid. And I want to talk about that a minute, Ray.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people out there saying that that was disrespectful and he should have picked it up. He should have been out there. And look, I really disagree. Look, if they were in Edmonton and they had lost in Edmonton, I could see him doing that.
I can see that. Yeah, that makes more sense. Sure.
But Connor McDavid is a supreme class act.
Yeah.
He's first in the handshake line. He was there, I think, second off the ice when his team was leaving. He made sure he tapped every one of them on the gloves. And he went to be with his team. And by the time that they got the whole presentation set up, he did not come out to accept the Conn Smythe. He did say in a post-game interview, it's a great honor to win that. But also basically said, that's not what I'm playing for. I don't think that's disrespectful in any way. If anything, I think it's respectful to the Florida fans who would have been booing him, saying Bobrovsky should have won that.
Right.
I'm already hearing conspiracy theory. I'm going to say this point blank to the audience. Connor McDavid is a shoo-in for the Conn Smythe. There is no one else that deserved the Conn Smythe this year other than Connor McDavid. Had the Panthers swept, then it would have been Bobrovsky at a 9.5 save percentage,
then it should have been Bobrovsky. Yeah.
His save percentage dipped below a 900.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid's point total in the postseason. Only other 2 players on the list with McDavid is Lemieux and Gretzky. When you do that, you get the Conn Smythe. Doesn't matter what the outcome of the series is.
And again, and much like JSGR many years ago basically willed the Ducks to a game 7, Connor McDavid is the only reason why that series went 7 games.
Well, and
it's the only reason why that series that went past the sweep. Like he single-handedly carried that team on his back, and he got no help. No help from anyone else.
Not till game 6. This will say game 4 and game 5, he put up 8 points in those 2 games. In game 6, the secondary of the Oilers really stepped up. That second, third, fourth line put some points on the board, which is exactly what we talked about, Ray, is that if you can shut down McDavid, the only fear is you got to make sure those other lines don't score. They did in game 6, but in game 7, they shut down everybody.
And to your point, Florida got back to its game, and when they got back to their game, they're very hard to beat.
We've been saying it all year. If you shut down McDavid and Draisaitl, it's very hard for that team to perform beyond that. And that's exactly what happened. Now, listen, it was on the grandest stage. It was a game 7. It takes nothing away from the Oilers' season and their postseason run, but that's what needed to happen. It's always been the danger I always equate like to the Phillies last year. If you can't hit home runs, you're not going to win the game if you're the Phillies last year. Obviously, it's a little different this year. But I want to say it again. Connor McDavid is a class act. He was with his team. That's where he needed to be. He's not disrespectful for not accepting the Conn Smythe on the ice in front of Florida fans that were already ready for Bobrovsky to win it. And I understand why they wanted that. I don't want to hear any more of this. No crap. That guy is an amazing steward of the game. Not to mention, Ray, he elevated his play to a point, a level I have never seen as a hockey fan. We should be appreciative that this guy is the face of the league right now. And I'm going to say this too. This is the opening act of what will become an Oilers series of trips to the final. I think they know exactly what they need. I think they need to bolster their goaltending, especially the second goalie a little bit, the backup.
Yeah.
I don't believe
credit where it's due. Skinner did really solidify his game in the second half of that series. And again, they lost 2-1 in game 7. It wasn't like Skinner got lit up.
No, it was a great series. It turned into a great series.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
And I'm thankful for that. And
look, the right team won, and the right guy got the Conn Smythe.
Absolutely agree. And again, there's people out there, it was rigged. Guys, it wasn't rigged. If the NHL was rigging the playoffs, it would not be Edmonton versus Florida. It would have been New York versus the Kings. Okay.
Again,
they don't rig these games. They don't rig, the players don't slow down. You would know, well, how do you explain Bobrovsky in games 4 through 6? Guys, it's hockey. I don't know what to tell you. Like the whole team looked like crap. They didn't stop playing. And they said it. They got off their game. They tried to get a little more offensive. That's not their game. They're a defensive team. They brought the defense in game 7 and won the Stanley Cup. The only negative part of this final was the stupid Fanatics championship hat that looks like it was made at a mall somewhere downtown at a mall that doesn't work.
Awful.
It's just a horrible looking championship hat with a patch that pretty much says, we won the Stanley Cup. Yeah.
I mean, well, look, we've been talking about this with their baseball stuff. Fanatics is a joke. They're a disaster of
How are they
company.
Screwing this up so much, Ray? It's not like there's like 60 years of examples for them to look at. It's just, I just don't understand how the quality looks like that. Now, they've already got a bad rep for the quality, Ray, but it's like, guys, what are you doing? What are you doing?
This is a classic example of trying to fix something that isn't broken. And this is somebody trying to put their quote unquote spin on it, but not realizing that their spin sucks. This is what happens in industry and anywhere when you have a bunch of morons who have failed upwards for their whole lives now making decisions. Fanatics, you need to clear out your C-suite. You need to get some real movers and shakers in there, people with a real good mind for this stuff. Lee and I are available.
I just want to meet the designers. I want to meet I want to be a fly on the wall when someone goes, this is it. Right? When they see it, you know what? These baseball jerseys need, this is it. Now, I'll also say Fanatics unveiled the new NHL jerseys today. For the most part, looks like they learned their lesson from the MLB. They look pretty much the same.
Until players start sweating through.
Well, I was going to say, we'll see if there's sweat marks on the jerseys next year, but I think they learned their lesson of let's not change it too much. A few teams obviously changed. The Ducks have changed their jersey.
Yes.
Anytime a new brand manager comes into the league, some teams tend to change their jersey. I'm sure we'll see a little bit more of that. But for the most part, they look exactly the same as they've been. But we'll see. This isn't what you want, Fanatics. And I feel like this is not a hard fix.
No.
Right? It's like, I'm shocked at the initiative. It looks like the MLB, they've gotten new jerseys. It looks like they sent out a second shipment of jerseys finally.
They're starting to revert back to the old fabric and everything.
I mean, the ones that worked.
Time. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Just making sure.
But yeah, also, I don't know if you saw just off on a tangent, the awful all-star game hats that they're making.
You mean the Slurpee hats, as I call them?
Yes, they're all, again, it's just, I remember way back when players would just wear their regular jerseys to the All-Star game. Can we go back to that? Right?
No,
so especially this way, people who may not be familiar.
Sell new jerseys.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. But here's the thing is that like some people might be like say somebody like a Spencer Steer or something goes to the All-Star game for the Reds. And unless you're a hardcore baseball fan like me, you might not know who Spencer Steer is or who he plays for.
Right.
But if he's wearing his Reds jersey, it's going to make it a lot more easy to
Well,
recognize.
here's the deal. I mean, they usually put the team on the patch on the side of the jersey, which is recognition. I know what
Nobody
you're
can
saying.
see that on TV. It's all tiny.
I just feel like the All-Star games are always an excuse of let's go wild and make something crazy. And we got to remember, Ray, those jerseys are for the kids. I keep reminding myself that when the City Connect jersey for the Phillies came out, all the adults were like, "Well, this is weird. This is horrible." They sold them out for the kids. They sold them all out. So it's an opportunity.
It's the same with San Diego with their neon uniforms. When I was in San Diego, I asked people because we went to one of the games I went to was a City Connect night, and I'm like, "Do you guys actually like this?" And the younger people said yes. Older people were like, "Of course not."
Yeah, we got to keep that in the back of our mind. That sometimes they're not designing for us, but the
Yeah,
quality of the jersey does matter. Ray, a quick DoorDash Dash update. My Dasher is at the Capriotti sandwich shop waiting to pick up the order. The Dasher order arrives between 12:58 and 1:03 p.m. So they're giving themselves a 5-minute window.
Yeah, the window is tightening. We're at the 13:30 mark.
Yeah, I think this is going to be interesting because sometimes this isn't DoorDash's problem. It comes down to the restaurants making the food on time.
That's also true, and it is lunchtime in Philly, so
it is. Well, it's 12:47. I'd say it's the later half of lunchtime.
I was good. Yes, and I would absolutely say so. I think it's gonna be right. I think it's gonna be a little bit over our 24-minute prediction, but
right. Well,
it's gonna be close.
They're also offering me a double dash to get some water ice, and I'm looking at a gelati here with some watermelon water ice, but I can't do it, Ray. I can't let this driver down. He's on the clock, and he doesn't even know it. But our Dasher's on the clock.
He doesn't even realize.
He has no idea.
Yeah, no, it's
he's waiting though. It says here he's waiting to pick up. He's there. He's there at the restaurant waiting to pick it up. He did his job.
Yes. So again, just want to congratulate the Buffalo Sabres South on winning the Stanley Cup.
Don't equate them that. Hey, listen.
That's basically what they are.
How about the Buffalo Sabre connection? Kyle Okposo, and what's probably going to be his swan song, won the Stanley Cup finally. Paul Maurice, after 30 years of chasing, won the Stanley Cup. Some really cool stories. Obviously, the Tkachuk family now has a cup shared between them.
Yes, I know. I saw his dad. The dad was
Keith Tkachuk was there. And Sergei Bobrovsky won. There's other players there that have had a long career, but when you can take the Florida jokes out of it, I'm not talking directly to you, Ray. Congratulations to that team. Look, somebody had asked me about who do I want to win, and I would have been fine with either team winning. But then I really thought about it, and I'm like, just as a human being, I don't really want the Panthers to have that 2 losses in a row and the worst collapse in history. That's a pain I'm not sure anybody really deserves in pro sports, to be fair. But maybe just the Mets. But it's not something I would wish upon anybody. And the Oilers will be back. Okay, Ray, quick update. It says the order now arrives between 1 and 1:05, and it just switched over to the map view, which means that he's about to get in his car. Okay,
he's about to be in transit.
He's about to be in transit. So 1 o'clock to 1:05. It is 12:50 here on the East Coast. You're tuned to WLE Radio Dasher Time.
Yes. It's beautiful, 92 degrees here already in the valley. Anyway, So
is it that hot there already?
Yeah, I have you might not be able to hear it. You might be able to. I don't know if there's a buzz in the background. I apologize. Obviously, that's my air conditioner running full blast because it is already at 10 to 10.
Hey, it's 90 here. Never mind. You can unscrew yourself. It's just as hot here.
Well, but the thing is that it's that hot at 9:50 in the morning, whereas it makes sense for it to be hot at the end of June in the afternoon in Philly. I wake up and it's that hot here.
Wow, you should leave there.
Yeah, I think about it many times a day.
I have a couch and an X-Men machine every week.
I know.
Okay.
I know. But hockey season is officially over now.
We're undefeated, Ray. We're undefeated today.
We're all undefeated. Already some moves being made. The Rangers cut Barclay Goodrow, who was then claimed by the San Jose Sharks. That clears up $3.5 million on the cap for the Rangers, which is a big deal as they look to. Also, for me, it's good because it basically opens up a spot in the fourth line, possibly for Johnny Brodzinski, who the Rangers signed to a short, cheap deal. Who obviously I think can also provide a lot there on that fourth line. Barclay Goodrow, we do appreciate everything he did for the Rangers. Obviously did not get us to the where we wanted to be, but he was a good player for the most part. Obviously had a rough year this year until the postseason.
Yeah, his value went up in that overtime goal. But look, movers and shakers, right? Things are going to happen now pretty fast. The draft is this Friday. The big move that I'm going to talk about really quickly. The Philadelphia Flyers have somehow secured
Yes.
Michkov to come from SKA Petersburg over in Russia to the Flyers this coming season, which all of the fans in the Metropolitan Division should be perking their ears up. That is a massive acquisition. Many people said last year he would have easily been number one in the draft, right? Had he been over here. Right. Yeah. So this is a huge deal for the Philadelphia Flyers that he's coming over here. And I really want to know one day, I hope they make the motion picture of Danny Briere or whoever flew over to Russia with a suitcase with $10 million in cash, which is exactly what I believe happened, Ray, or whatever that amount was, handed it, say, we want Michkov. Like, you may have Michkov once money is counted. And then they count the money, and then he comes over here, and the Flyers win 17 Stanley Cups in a row every year of his time here. It's a movie. It's a Disney movie because that's not going to happen.
Nope.
But a guy can dream. Anyway, Flyers really bolstered themselves here, and I believe they're going to have somewhat of an aggressive offseason. So that could be exciting for me, period. Hey, Ray, update. Heading to you. Arrival time, 12:56 to 12:59. Now they're banking on themselves. He's in his car. The car is moving. Dasher, can you do it? Can you get here on time? We'll find out today on today's DoorDash Dash of the Week.
Dash of the Week.
Dash of the Week.
So that does it for hockey.
Wait. Thank you. Needed that. He's moving, right? He's on North State Road. He's moving.
The thing is, he might, as a Philly driver, there's either two things. Either he's going to be slower or he's going to pick up speed and he's going to make up time. We don't know.
I'm watching him. He's making the right moves here in terms of how he's driving. He's making a left turn right now down the road. This guy's going to be here quick.
You know who else?
Everyone on standby. Everyone on standby for the Dasher.
You know who else is making the right moves?
Who?
Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is making a lot of good moves right now.
Caitlin Clark. Before running up, her and Angel Reese continue their rivalry. Angel Reese finally got the best of Caitlin Clark with an 88-87 win over the weekend.
Good game.
It was a great game. Indiana had a big lead and they blew it. Caitlin Clark was phenomenal. 17 points, 13 assists, 6 rebounds. Angel Reese with her rookie record-breaking double-double in that game helped catapult the Chicago Sky to a win there. Both teams, mind you, this is a big deal. Both teams are under 500, but this game felt like a playoff game.
It is. The storyline's overtaking the standings. That's awesome.
Yes. And the thing is, and mind you, both teams are starting to win now too, right? Chicago's won a couple in a row. This snapped a 4-game win streak for Indiana. So even though they're both out of the playoffs as of this particular moment, they're both starting to make up some ground. By the way, my New York Liberty continue to win. We'd really love for them to bring some kind of a championship to New York. Anybody? They're probably the best bet right now. Please. Anyway,
Keep fishing, Ray. Keep fishing for that championship.
Yeah, but and Caitlin Clark also, they went down to Atlanta and beat the Atlanta Dream, and that was the largest crowd ever.
There you go.
In the WNBA. It was almost 18,000 people. It was a sold-out arena there.
That's a pro crowd. Indiana.
So a lot of people. That's a pro
crowd because it's a pro
NBA
sport.
crowd. Yeah, it's an NBA
crowd for a pro. It's a WNBA crowd.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly.
And it's really cool, dude. I also want to make one note on Caitlin Clark. It looks like, Ray, she's going to be named to the All-Star game. We had talked about this, and I am not a vindictive person, but I'm going to do this for a change. Someone made a comment on one of our videos when we were talking about how she's going to be an All-Star, and that person said, Ray, I won't mention their name, that she's not an All-Star. She's not doing an All-Star. And I said to that person, when she makes the All-Star team, I will be sure to post something. And I think I might post this clip. She is an All-Star. She has All-Star numbers. She absolutely should be on Team USA this year. One of the biggest oversights in history in my mind.
Absolutely.
Anyway, just wanted to say that. Not a vindictive person, but today I am vindictly. Oh, man, that worked better than I thought it was going to be. I was not expecting it to sound like that. Let's say it one more time. No, I'm not going to say it again.
Don't say it again.
Vindictly.
Yeah, don't need to say it again. But
you want to talk about some voiceover work, right? Let's make a voice for that guy. All right, Caitlin Clark, we salute you. Somehow that turned the wrong way. WNBA, if you're not watching it, watch it. It's fun. Please watch it. Boys, girls, everyone's invited to watch the WNBA. Ray, next one. We have some sad news, but we have to acknowledge this person.
Yeah. Well, hold on, before we get to there, I want to stay on basketball for a
You
second.
want to stay on basketball after that segue I just made?
I know it was a great segue.
You're
It really
the host.
was.
You're the host, Ray.
It really was. But I need to also mention, we talked a little about hockey offseason moves happening. Obviously, the NBA offseason has also started. We're right before the draft. I think the first round of the NBA draft is also happening this week. The New York Knicks are already making moves.
You mean the New York Wildcats, right?
The New York Knicks.
The Wildcats, because you have all Villanova players on your team now, and
I want some recognition. Nova. The Knicks are going full Nova, ladies and gentlemen.
The New York Nova Knicks. It's right there for you.
It's the Nova Knicks. It's Mikal Bridges from the Brooklyn Nets. The Knicks send a half dozen draft picks and Bojan Bogdanovic for money reasons over to the Nets. And now the Knicks need to make another move. But this is one of those moves where you're kind of like, oh, the Knicks are going all in. The Knicks now, if they stayed healthy, have a rotation that is comparable to any other team in the NBA with this move. Bridges is consistent. You know you're going to get 20 points a game from this guy. You know that you can put the ball in his hands and he is going to take the shot if you need him to, or he can dish it to somebody else. He can help facilitate the offense. He also plays defense, which what were the Knicks the best in the league in last year, or one of the best teams? Defense.
Complaining.
No. Well, I mean, we did a lot of that too. But that's any New York team, right? But
and their fans.
A Thibodeau coach team is all about defense. And if now they re-sign OG and if they re-sign Hartenstein, this is a team that's going to be predicated on defense. They needed another guy who can put the ball in the bucket, ball in the basket. They did that now. This is a great first move. And also people are like, but they gave so many first round picks. The Knicks had 12 first round picks over the next 7 years from other trades. They had stockpiled these picks for something like this. And this is also basically signifying that the always irrelevant Brooklyn Nets are once again going in full rebuild mode.
Yes. Last time they were relevant, they were in New Jersey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, when they had Durant and they had all that there, but you also knew they were going to find a way to blow it. The last time the Nets were really, really a threat was when Jason Kidd played for him, to your point, when they were in Jersey.
That's what I'm trying to say. Did you just confirm what I said?
Yes, that's exactly what I was doing. I was confirming what you were saying.
I just want to make sure. Ray, quick update. The driver's right down the road. It says 1 to 1:01 p.m. So this is, I think, what we're going to do. They've given themselves a 1 minute variance here.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, they're over they've hit 25:30 on the clock.
Okay, they're still within the range. So for DoorDash's thing here, I'm going to go by. It says arrival time 1 p.m. to 1:01 p.m.
So in the next 90 seconds, basically.
Yeah, it is 12:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm watching him. You can see this for those of you watching the show. He is right around the corner, Ray. We're going to make this very exciting. Okay?
Did you just dox yourself?
What do you mean?
You don't have your address on there or anything, right?
Oh, no, I'm not worried about anybody coming here. We can take them. But no, you can't see the address. You can see it's coming. Look at this. He's right around the corner. He's moving.
He's really moving.
It's 1 o'clock, Ray. He's got to get it up here.
He's going to drive literally through the wall behind you.
He has no idea that his entire life is dependent on whether he hands this off to Caitlin and Caitlin hands it to me in time. Savi, our producer, other producer, sitting at his desk watching this going, God, I don't want to edit this later. But he's going to have to, Ray, because this is the DoorDash Dash of the week.
Yes.
The best part's going to be if he has to take a picture of it.
Oh, that's true.
The arrival time is 1:01. It is still 1 o'clock. He's here, Ray. It says he's outside. Caitlin, the door is open. Ray, we're doing it. 1 o'clock. Let's see this in real time here. Okay?
All right.
It's got to be in my hand before that clock hits 1:01. The DoorDash Dash of the week. She's coming up the stairs, Ray.
Remember the original estimation.
Ray, we did it again, Ray. They did it on time.
Did it again.
Look at that. 1 o'clock on the dot, 1 minute early from what DoorDash. It's 1:01 right now. That's insane.
The total time. Remember they said the maximum 30 minutes.
Yeah.
26:57.
DoorDash Dash of the week. DoorDash is awesome. I mean, that's insane. And now I have a cheesesteak, so I'm going to be quiet on the show, which is going to be really good for Ray. because I talk so much and I get to give Caitlin those. DoorDash, keep it up. You are our official sponsor, whether you know it or not, of Geeks Who Like Sports. Thanks for participating. Seriously, no rights reserved. All the legalese that you have to say here at this point to make sure that we don't get sued for saying anything like that. We really appreciate DoorDash. I love you. Thank you. I'm going to have my cheesesteak now.
Yes. Sponsor, non-sponsor, please sponsor
DoorDash. It's
DoorDash.
something.
It's something else.
It's something.
It's something. It's something. Anyway, well, while Lee starts to munch, this is actually probably a good time to actually take like a small moment of silence, because Lee was hinting to this before we talked about the Knicks and the Nets a little bit. This was sad. I mean, look, he had an amazing run. He was one of the greatest ball players of all time. I mean, if you're talking top 3 outfielders of all time, he's in that conversation. Talking top 3 ball players of all time, he's probably in that conversation. The great Willie Mays, of course, the San Francisco Giants, and a brief stint with the Mets that nobody likes to talk about. But we'll see with the Giants. The great Willie Mays passed away at 93, just before the Rickwood game, actually, for MLB, which celebrated, of course, the Negro Leagues, and of course their further integration back into baseball with their statistics and the history, and just a celebration of that amazing league and that amazing era of baseball. But Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats, a pioneer in his own right, over 600 career home runs. Of course, one of the most iconic catches in the history of the game over his shoulder. And, there's so much to say about him, both as a ball player and, of course, as somebody off the field, as a pioneer and as an ambassador for the game. Just, what he meant to not just the Giants franchise, but to obviously to baseball in general. Willie Mays, one of the all-time greats. There is no denying that. You can argue where he belongs on that list, but he is one of the all-time greats.
No question.
He is one of the reasons why baseball is as beloved a sport as it is. And he had a great run at 93, but he will be missed.
Yeah, and look, several cool nods this week from players making that catch in a game, right?
Yes.
Where how it hits the outfield, they would purposely catch it, like that one catch that he had, obviously, over his shoulder. So, 93 is a tremendous life and deserves to be celebrated.
100%. 100%. So that is that. And the Rickwood game went off without a hitch. My only issue with the Rickwood game, and I think that this is kind of I think in general, when like they did the Field of Dreams game, I think they should play multiple games at these stadiums. I don't think it should be limited to one game. I think it should be like a full series, or at least a 2-game series like they do with London, which I know partially that's because of the travel. But I think that it would be you go through all this time and effort to renovate these stadiums, and I think and to do these celebrations. I think that, and especially with baseball, because it is such an everyday sport. And it was weird for the Giants and Cardinals to then have an off day after that and then wrap up that series they were playing back in St. Louis. That's my only complaint. I think they should have done more of a series at Rickwood.
I think there's this fear amongst professional sports leagues that if you do more than one, it makes it less special. But I think you're right, Ray. Just do the series.
Yeah.
Just do the whole series there. Or like you said, maybe do multiple series there throughout the year. I'm sure they have their reasons logistically not to do that. I mean, look, ticket sales are part of it, right?
Sure, those stadiums don't typically hold the 45,000 stadium that a regular stadium fit.
Right. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that utilizing that to the best of its ability is important.
Yeah. No, and it shined a great light on the Negro Leagues and the history of the Negro Leagues.
The MLB is doing a lot right suddenly. The only thing this year that I'm having an issue with, and I think this is a positive, is just the umpires. Which is an eternal problem. But again, we don't have to get into that again. We talk about it all the time, but that seems to be the downplay this year. That and sports betting. But they're doing a lot right now in baseball, and I'm enjoying it.
And also a credit to. I also want to mention the Fox pregame show, which normally I don't enjoy, but A-Rod talking to Reggie Jackson.
It was fantastic.
I mean, and obviously it's horrible that Reggie went through everything that Reggie went through.
But those are the uncomfortable conversations we need to have.
Exactly. Right? Shining a light on this is necessary and important. And, Reggie's in his 70s now, right? But you also have to remember, Reggie's only in his 70s now. this wasn't so long ago in our history that these things were happening. And I think it's a good reminder about both how far we've come and yet how far we still need to go. And that again, that it's very easy that if we don't remain, vigilant and dedicated, that this stuff could easily come back.
Right. It's not woke to have uncomfortable conversations. And this is where I think people miss it on these. What is woke is to make a declaration without any backing or understanding. That is woke, right? I'm not going to go into specific examples, but that's what annoys me is, well, you're taking a stand on something and you really have no place in it or no understanding of it or a rudimentary knowledge of that situation. This is not that. Reggie Jackson talking about his own experience in a place is history. And I love that he is comfortable enough to have those conversations. And let's be honest, it was uncomfortable to listen to, but that's exactly why we need to hear these types of stories. And I give him a nod for not being afraid to do that. And look, A-Rod for asking a great question.
Yes.
Right? And the rest of that crew for shutting up and letting him speak. They didn't pull him off the air. They didn't do anything. So again, another win for that one's not just a win for baseball. That's actually a win for America. Which we don't get to say too much these days.
Yeah, it's a win for broadcasting. It's a win across the 100%.
Board. It was quality broadcasting for a change.
Yes. Yeah, and journalism, because that's what journalism that's what good journalism looks like, folks.
Just a little light of hope at the end of the tunnel there, right?
Yeah, just a little bit. I can't believe it came from A-Rod.
Right. Listen, before we move on, the DoorDash Dash of the week was for a cheesesteak. I want you to see it. This is a Wagyu cheesesteak, so it's extra good. I got ketchup, fried onions. I don't get cheese on it because I'm lactose intolerant because I'm over 40. But this is a brilliant sandwich in my hand. I don't care if you just ate, Ray. This has got to be making you a little hungry.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But isn't it a cheesesteak then if there's no cheese, or is it just
a steak sandwich?
Sandwich.
Right?
Yeah, it's just a steak sandwich.
But I need to do a little taste test here for everybody listening at home. Again, Wagyu cheesesteak, Capriotti sandwich shop, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. One bite. Everybody knows the rules.
They can sponsor us too if they want. So as Lee takes a bite of a sandwich and now he's chewing.
It feels like you're at a stadium watching your favorite sport.
Do they deliver to LA?
We can deliver you from LA, right?
That would probably be easy.
Maybe we can DoorDash Geeks Across America. DoorDash, there you go. We'll DoorDash every meal along the way as long as you pay for it. As we drive across America.
Yes. Now, hey, we'll pay for the meals. You just pay for the trip, DoorDash.
That's fine. Whatever it takes, DoorDash. But DoorDash, great job today. I have to give this a good score. This is a 9.4 out of 10, right? It's that good.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really good. It's the Wagyu. It's the Wagyu.
Well, that's a high quality beef, obviously, and that does help. The quality of beef does matter. Obviously, whenever you're in any kind of a meal, the quality of the meat, right, like is going to make a difference. Obviously in the taste and the cut and whatnot.
I should also mention the fries. They cut their fries a little different. Very tough to explain here. Thin,
they're not steak fries.
No, they're They're steak fries size, but cut very thin.
Yeah, which is interesting. Actually, I like that. I like that because that's how my grandma used to. She used to cut them like almost like potatoes, almost like because she would fry them up almost like potato chips, almost where she would cut them kind of like the long way, not the long way, but around the circumference of the potato. Anyway, they looked like medallions. That's what I'm thinking of. Instead of like actual fries.
That's the right word. I should give everybody a hint now. If I'm really quiet in the geek section, it's because I'm asleep. Because I ate lunch during the show.
There you go. You should have got a soda or something.
I'm gonna make it.
You're gonna make it? You think you're gonna do it? Mm-hmm. See, I got my Dunkin' cold brew, so I'm definitely caffeinated for the rest of the show. So
there you go.
So, but anyway, let's you know what else might put you to sleep, Lee?
AEW?
No. I mean, maybe. I mean, I haven't watched AEW. It's gotten real bad. But this year's Hard Knocks. My New York Giants are the team for Hard Knocks this
starring
year.
the New York Montreal Canadiens.
Oh God.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about the trailer. I purposely didn't watch this to get your unfiltered results of it.
It's just it looks like the organization looks so disorganized, And I just don't think this is going to shine a good light on the New York Giants. And as a very proud NFL franchise, as a very proud Giants fan, like, nobody wanted this. Nobody wanted this as a fan. Like, nobody like watching Daniel Jones throw the ball is it's even worse than when he's on the field. Somehow it's worse when he's practicing. And then, when he doesn't have anybody in his face and he still has a look of panic and shock and like fear in his eyes. And then there was a conversation, the highlight, I guess, is the conversation that it looks like Shane, our GM, is having with, Joe Shane is having with Saquon Barkley. And he's like, are you going to be a man of your word, or are you not even going to give us a chance to match or whatever? And then it cuts and it's like, we already know what happens. Guess what, folks? Saquon's in Philadelphia. There it is. I don't care.
P-A-G-L-E-S.
I don't care how that conversation went. I don't care. Every Giants fan has already turned on Saquon. Every Eagles fan is all for Saquon.
Yes,
It's done. We don't care. We moved on already. I don't need to see our GM caught with his you know what in his hands pissing in the wind. Like, we get it. The Giants are inept. I know. I'm aware. I don't need HBO to show this.
Ray, you sound very vindictively about this.
Yes.
They cut it on, are you going to be a man of your word? So that now they're painting him as a bad guy, which confirms that Hard Knocks is made in New York City and that they're trying to get Saquon Barkley in trouble. That's incredible. That was the cliffhanger.
That was the cliffhanger.
Right.
We know what happens. Saquon is in Philly.
You know what solves most problems, Ray?
Not reality television.
Winning.
Yes.
All right. I don't know what the Giants are doing. This to me, this is not the season for Hard Knocks. But here's the thing.
The Giants' ceiling is 7 wins. That's the ceiling.
I'm going to say this again, Ray, that the teams that go on Hard Knocks, and I enjoy Hard Knocks most of the time. I always like to look inside, but I also have to tell myself, and this is from the starts when they did it with the first teams, these are the bottom half of the league teams that go on this because they need that notoriety.
Yeah, they need a shot in the arm.
I don't remember if I've ever seen a top team on there.
No. Maybe the Colts, right? Didn't they do the Colts one year with Peyton Manning still? I can't remember.
I'm going to say it again. I don't think any team on Hard Knocks has ever won a Super Bowl that year.
No. Oh, no.
It's typically a team that is
a huge
struggling.
distraction.
Yeah,
it's a team that knows they're not going anywhere, but wants to stay relevant in the mind of the league. Yeah, no, this is a bad look for the Giants.
Now, looking ahead, where Hard Knocks is really good is like when they do, I remember the one with the Browns was good. When they do a Hard Knocks with a team that becomes good, it's really cool to look back and see the early steps of that process.
Sure.
But a lot of them I haven't seen. Like, I remember the one with the Jets I thought was really good, but then they fluttered out. The ones that, they did the one with the Cowboys that didn't go over well, so there's not many who have built into a champion. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't remember any. And that's the thing about Hard Knocks that's tough is you're really not seeing the highest standard of excellence.
No, you're not. You're absolutely not. And that's what the Giants are right now. Not excellent. So far from it. You know what is excellent, though?
WWE.
WWE has been absolutely excellent.
Yeah, man.
Lately.
They really have. You got to hand it to them from where they were 2 years ago to now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason they're the best of the best. It's insane. And again, Ray, we talked about this, how they would rebound, and they did.
Yeah. I mean, and they're on, obviously they're on the verge of the Netflix deal. Everybody's getting super hyped for that. But also, this is
Rated
what
R.
WWE...
Rated R on Netflix.
Yeah. They're going to be rated, yes, 100%. They've said, quote unquote, edgier and more adult, right?
R.
But
that's what they mean.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. WWE in the Attitude Era saw what WCW was doing and like, we can do that and we can do it better. And they did. And that's how, plus also the ineptitude of WCW, how they killed WCW. WWE has now looked at AEW. It's like, we can do some of that, but we can do it better. And that's what they're doing. and AEW is dying. In fact, AEW's ratings are tanking right now. AEW is bleeding fans. That's a fact. Their ratings are half of what they were just 6 months ago at AEW and dropping. The product sucks. WWE. But one of the interesting things AEW did though was like, look, we don't need to have everything be so strict. So they started a thing called the Forbidden Door, which is where AEW would bring in people from TNA or New Japan, and it usually gave them a shot in the arm as long as it made sense storyline wise. So what has WWE done? They've started bringing in TNA wrestlers, and they've done it in a brilliant way. Oh, and then by the way, and then also the underutilized guys at AEW, they've now poached from AEW the same way WWE did that with WCW back in the day with the Radicals, right? Your Eddie Guerreros and your Dean Malenkos and Chris Jerichos, and yoink, WWE took them. And now WWE we're going to take your Ethan Pages. We're going to take your Lexi Kings, aka Brian Pillman Jr. We're going to take these guys from you and we're going to make them into stars. And that's what they're doing right now, to the point where they're even making fun of AEW because they're having Cody Rhodes do segments with all these guys and be like, funny seeing you guys here. And like there's 5 of them lined up because it's WWE just poaching the good talent from AEW like they're a farm system. And then having TNA stars show up, like the hottest star in wrestling right now, Joe Hendry, show up for a battle royale on NXT, and having the TNA Women's Champion and Jordynne Grace have a championship match on WWE television, then sending NXT women wrestlers to TNA. It's what AEW tried to do a few years ago, and they did it well, and WWE's done it better now.
Yeah, WWE pulled the Uno reverse card.
Yep.
And they're doing it brilliantly. Now, here's the other cool things about it. Vince McMahon never would have done any of this stuff. This is absolutely the new leadership understanding.
All Triple H.
Yeah, it's him understanding the community-based nature of wrestling, that fans are not stupid. I think we proved that with The Rock coming in at WrestleMania. Fans are not stupid. He was able to maintain his heel character while also maintaining his actual character, while also maintaining that that I am real and fake at the same time. That is a fourth wall break.
By the way, I can't wait to see the behind the scenes that's going to debut later this week for WrestleMania 40 behind the curtain.
That's going to be good. And then obviously, like, Dwayne Johnson will return at some point too. We know that. They did this brilliantly.
They're building that storyline up. You're going to have a bloodline civil war soon. Like, that's what they're
obvious, right?
All the Samoans have now, your Jacob Fatu's and whatnot, your Tonga Loas, they've now joined WWE, and it's going to be Solo Sikoa and the young Samoans, basically, against the Usos and Roman when he comes back. And the question is going to be, what side does The Rock take? Because he might not necessarily go with Roman.
Or does he reunite the family? So there's going to be a lot of different ways that this could play out. And I'm sure that, look, Dwayne Johnson's smart. He will always have himself painted somewhat in a nice light.
Yes.
Because the greatest, amazing, stupendous thing about The Rock is coming in as a heel. I don't want to say he saved wrestling. That wouldn't be fair. But coming as a heel, electrifying the WWE once again, to the point that fans are cursing him and then thanking and bowing before him at the exact same time. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. But WWE really pushing forward into the new era here, understanding that we are the golden goose. We are the shining castle at the top of the hill. You will join us, and we are happy to have you along as long as you play by the rules. But amazing time period in professional wrestling. They're just doing this right. You also can't go a minute online if you have any interest in wrestling without seeing it on your feed. I think they also understand a lot of people maybe aren't watching the shows, but they're following kind of on those micro clips that they share, and they're doing a great job of doing that. Right.
Yes. So they're getting millions upon millions of views on those. And it's just another great revenue stream for WWE.
Yeah. And right. Like the WrestleMania clips are showing up all the time on my, I've seen The Rock get choke slammed at least 50 times. And it's fun every time. To see the final boss get choke slammed by the biker Undertaker, who's not the biker Undertaker, but is, but isn't. He's the dead man.
Yes. Yeah, no, no, WWE's in a great spot right now. AEW's in a lot of trouble, and WWE working with TNA, it's also great for TNA. Like, I'm not gonna lie, TNA right now is I'll say this, as good as WWE, TNA is probably, their writing is probably just as good. They just don't have the resources that WWE has. But the storylines in TNA right now are just as good if you like professional wrestling. I can't say that about AEW. I can't say AEW stories right now suck. They suck.
Yeah,
and some of it has to do, a lot of it has to do with Tony Khan. Some of it not being able to control his wrestlers. Some of it not being that he's a respectable guy. Some of it he's just got bad ideas. And it feels like WCW all over again.
I will make the prediction that AEW will be done by the end of this year.
Wow.
Where else do they have to go?
This
year. They have no place to go.
I mean, unless HBO, Time Warner, Warner Brothers Discovery, whatever you want to call them now, unless they do something to help, I'll give them one full year from now.
Here's the thing, Ray. I mean, the real question I have is Triple H going to lend a hand out to them, or is he going to let them die? All right.
I think he's going to let it. I think he's going to let them die, and I think he's going to just poach the talent that he wants.
Yeah, that's what I think is going to happen too. I give him to the end of the year. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, 6 to 12 months. That's our prediction. Lee says 6, I say 12, but it's not looking good. AEW's looking real. I mean, I get that Tony Khan. The only thing that could keep it going is Tony Khan has more money than God. And if he just wants to keep bleeding that money and just keep bolstering it himself, that's fine. The question will be, much like what helped kill WCW, is does TBS TNT just be like, you're not worth our airtime anymore? Because that's what will really kill AEW.
That or the talent. TV. The talent running out of patience. That is the other thing. That's also what killed WCW.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. Speaking of talent, the Wyatt Six, Six, SICKS or SIX, not sure. They have debuted. Get your lights out. The Fireflies are here. We are here. We're here. Absolutely phenomenal. Obviously paying tribute to Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt, who of course unfortunately suddenly passed last year. So last year, time has no meaning anymore, folks. But recently, he was in his late 30s. Just an absolute shame. Obviously, Uncle Howdy, aka Bo Dallas, aka Taylor Rotunda, his brother, his actual real life brother, has taken over, and they did a beautiful vignette with him, basically kind of talking to himself, Uncle Howdy talking to Bo about what, are you just trying to capitalize on your brother? And he's like, no, I wanted to be my brother. I loved my brother. This is how I'm paying tribute to my brother. It was just really, really beautifully done, but also continuing to make making them creepy. Like, obviously it's everybody has a tangential relation. Like, everything makes sense as to who is in this group right now. And honestly, they need to run roughshod over all of WWE. It needs to be like, oh gosh, what was it? When it was not the Acolytes. I mean, there was the Acolytes, but it was when the Undertaker.
No, we're talking about the Acolyte next.
No, in a second. Not that Acolyte.
I know. I come on, man.
I couldn't think of that. I can't think of when Vince McMahon ended up being leader of the cult. I can't remember what it was called. And Undertaker, everybody thought it was the Undertaker. You had the APA come out of it, the Acolyte Protection Agency. I can't remember.
Oh, the degenerate Vince McMahon, the Degenerates.
No, they weren't called the Degenerates.
I know. I'm calling him a degenerate right now.
I mean, Vince McMahon was
corporate ministry.
Was it the ministry?
The corporate ministry.
The corporate.
We have received the information from a wrestling expert.
Thank you, Zavi. Yes. This is the thing. Zavi's rewatching all this. Like, now we're watching it for the first time. Like,
what an asset to our show.
I know. I haven't watched. And the thing is that this was 27 years ago for me.
You don't need to say that out loud on the air. It was nearly 30 years. You had it right. That sounds way better than nearly 30 years. 27 years ago. Make sure you check out our producer's show, the New to Wrestling podcast. It is lovely, wonderful to watch these two young people discover the Attitude Era that Ray and I
Yeah.
lived through when I had hair
Yeah.
nearly 30 years ago.
Yeah. Anyway, until Vince McMahon was revealed as the head of the corporate ministry,
Yes.
right? As the or just the
It's
ministry
me, Austin.
before.
It's
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, right. That was a scary, powerful group. That's what the Wyatt Six can be, just minus the Vince McMahon stuff, which makes it better. So run roughshod over everyone. Like they should just absolutely demolish everybody. They don't need the gold. They don't need titles. They don't need any of that. They just need to come in and cause havoc, and that's it.
And again, right? Look, here's the deal.
And I love that they're haunting Chad Gable, by the way. I think that's great.
The belts are always a great storyline, but the Undertaker-esque storyline of it's
Never
not
needed
about
the
the belt
Yeah.
is really important to have.
Yeah.
Again, they are firing on all cylinders right now. Unbelievable. By the way, side note, saw a really funny meme the other day. Want to share with our audience. I can describe it. It was an astronaut on top of a cage throwing mankind off and said, "That's one giant leap for mankind."
Yeah.
And I thought that was really funny. I'm Lee Elias, and I'm 40 years old. God help us.
Yep. Oh, anyway, so yeah, so of course there was the Acolyte Protection Agency, the Acolytes, and later became the Acolyte Protection Agency, of course, in the ministry with that. Like I'm gonna state that transition that we're gonna go into the geek section.
You got to use it as the transition.
Easy.
If you don't, you're fired. That's how it is. Do I have the power to do that? No. Does it matter? Yes.
Yeah. But now we're going to talk about Star Wars, The Acolyte, and Episode 4. We're recording this with, just so you know, a day later than normal. Episode 5 has now dropped. I have seen it. Lee hasn't. We're not going to talk about it also because of spoilers, but I will do my best to avoid, because boy, I will say.
No. You will not do your best. You will not spoil this for me.
Yeah.
That's what friends do, Ray. They don't spoil stuff. Like every person posting clips from Superman that's being filmed, please stop posting pictures from the film we haven't seen, you idiots. The bus is coming for you. I don't want to see Superman pictures. I don't want to know anything about the story. I don't care. Stop posting it. I'll see it when it comes out. I trust James Gunn. This is an impromptu Lee Maniac moment powered by DoorDash.
Powered by DoorDash.
I'm sorry, Ray. I know that's way off topic, but I'm so sick of people sharing production photos like you're doing me a favor. You are ruining the effing movie. Stop.
Right. But so you have seen the Superman suit?
Yes.
I don't like it.
I don't give a shit. I don't want to see it. It's not in post-production yet. I don't know what they're going to do to it in CGI. Dude, this is the equivalent of someone seeing you in your underwear when you wake up before you're dressed. I mean, to be fair, see it.
Superman is in his underwear. The underwear's on the outside.
Yeah,
of the suit,
it's a very Christopher Reeve suit with a updated. He looks like Superman. I don't give a shit. Stop sharing pictures from the set.
There's like a weird pattern on it, though. There's like a weird pattern.
They got you, Ray. They push it.
No, I'm just saying, like I mean, look, the images
it's gonna look like.
The images are everywhere.
Ray,
the images are everywhere.
I can't wait for Deadpool and Wolverine to come out, because I hope to God that Ryan Reynolds knows his audience so well that they gave Wolverine sleeves on purpose so that they're going to take them off and I hope they make a mention of it in the film, that all the fanboys and fangirls are going to complain about him having sleeves and he rips them off. I hope that scene happens, because the damn geek culture right now that cannot keep their mouths and their camera lenses shut have pissed me off, Ray. And this is a first world problem. I'm Lee Elias. This is Geeks Who Like Sports. So yeah, The Acolyte, Ray. I really enjoyed episode 4. I thought it was actually a little bit boring. I'm not going to lie to you. Episode 4 we're talking about right now.
Yes, episode 4.
It did progress the story. It did take us someplace a little bit further. I'm hoping that it did not give away too much. You know more than I do now, having seen episode 5. But again, I feel like there's a few red herrings of who the Dark Lord might be. My strongest guess is that it's another one of the witches. But the sidekick that keeps following May around is a strong candidate for me as well. He seems to know too much. I hope that's a red herring and it's not that obvious. But it's an interesting position right now to see where they're going to be going with that show. Strictly speaking about episode 4, I'm a little upset that they killed the Wookiee Jedi. Again, spoiler alerts, it's been out for over a week.
Yeah.
As they did. Again, I
Yeah.
feel like every time
Very underwhelming. Very underwhelming.
I feel like every time they kill someone early, they come back later. Right?
In
like
a flashback and all this other stuff.
But
yeah.
Interesting and a fantastic ending to that episode. But I thought episode 4 is a little boring, but not to the point I couldn't watch it.
I mean, they leave you on a
watch it. How about that?
They leave you on a cliffhanger on purpose. I feel like
that entrance was awesome, though, of the Sith Lord kind of floating down. It reminded me of Castlevania, actually. It reminds me of like when that happens. Was it Dracula shows up at the end? Is it Medusa? I forget.
I think it's Dracula.
Yeah, it just kind of floats down out of nowhere.
Yeah. But yeah, so my issues with the series to this point, I think it is poorly paced in terms of how they cut each episode. And I feel like this would have been better served as 4 1-hour episodes than 8 half-hour episodes.
Well, that doesn't work for the business people.
No, I understand that, but in terms of flow and in terms of storytelling and all this other stuff, I feel like this is kind of like they have major beats and then they have to cut them or truncate them to fit into this format, which I don't think works for this particular story.
Yeah, interesting.
Like, look, I get it. The singing space lesbians was stupid. I mean, look, that's
wow, Ray, you did not hold back on that at all.
No, I mean, look,
that's an accurate description.
That's what they were. We are many. It was dumb. It was like, wait, get it. And it so much feels like Star Wars trying to be like a Disney animated thing, even to the point where these twins are basically, it's just Elsa and what's her face or whatever from Frozen or whatever.
Ray, look at me. Let it go.
I can't let it go. No, but like the other thing is like, and then this is the other thing. My problem is this whole twin gimmick. I'm over. I was over in the first 5 minutes.
Well, we figured it out. You and I both figured that out really
immediately. And it's dumb. And everything they do with the twins is dumb. And in this episode, everything changes because Osha's still alive. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a little weak. It was a little bit of a weak episode.
But the best characters are not the main characters.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's
in this.
Saul
is the best character. The Jedi, the people that they've killed in every episode are the best characters.
Well, listen. Here's 2 things I'm going to say on what you're saying. Number 1 is I wonder how aware Disney, Netflix, all Hulu, everybody is of binge watching. And sometimes I wonder if these are produced with the intention of binge watching an episode. Now, with that said, if that is your intention, you should be releasing the whole season at once.
100%. Because it does. I do agree. This feels like it would be better binged.
Stranger Things does a fantastic job of that. And they might drop it in 2 halves, which I don't have a problem with. But Stranger Things that has some slower episodes. But when you're binging, it's okay. Right. But when you have to wait, it's a pain in the ass.
I do agree that the week to week element of this hurts this tremendously.
And I think Disney should think about that. Now, with that said, X-Men. Perfect week to week action. Perfect. Yeah. Right. I mean, literally 10 out of 10.
Yes. 100%.
Could not have been done any better than
100%. And other thing, I also want to mention some folks really got ticked off about with this episode.
Episode 4, we're talking.
Episode 4.
Yes. Don't ruin
is the retconning of Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah.
I will say this: of all the things that this show has done wrong, that is the least offensive thing, because honestly, Ki-Adi-Mundi's age was revealed in such like ancillary material when episode 1 came out.
It's Legends material now too.
Right. No, this was I think this was canon, but even then, we also don't know how long Syrians, which is the race that Ki-Adi-Mundi's, we don't know what their lifespan is.
Right.
So if they say, they're like, well, now he was like 70 in episode 1 and he's like 40 here or whatever, or he's like 100 in episode 1, he's like 40 here or whatever, like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Well,
like, that's a Ray, minor thing in my opinion.
I just want to give a nod again that we don't have real world problems. So that's why we can bitch about things like this in a television show. Is it been confirmed that that's him? Like 100% in the show?
Yes, that is 100% Kia Diamandi. That has been confirmed. It is his.
That's awesome.
That is what he is credited as in the credits. So again, them messing with his age.
They said no. They said there would not be any cameos. They lied.
Nope, and there was. They lied.
They lied, which means there may be more. But
there may be more.
Look, here's the thing. This is the question I have, just kind of getting us out of this segment.
All right? But I'm not done. I got lots to talk about with this, and we're just still on episode 4. Wait till we get to episode 5 next week. I've seen episode 5. Guys, if you think I have a lot to say about episode 4, wait till we go to episode 5.
Ray's talking fast. Ray's slowly turning into George Costanza.
Slowly?
Look, I'll just ask this question. It doesn't have to end the segment.
Ray has opinions about the Acolyte.
Ray's angry. The question I have kind of halfway through the series is how with what they've just seen at the end of this episode, which is basically a Dark Lord. I won't say a Sith Lord, but a Dark Lord of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
None of these characters can survive, right? They can't survive because this cannot be known to anyone that this Dark Lord exists. And they're not going to go back to the Jedi Temple. If they do this, they're going to get a pretty bad score from me. They can't go back and be like, oh, a presence and we eradicated it and it's not there anymore. They would not just ignore that, in my opinion. Now, that may be very well had ends of like we saw someone using the dark arts, we took them out, and now it's not a problem anymore. But it all depends on how it connects to the larger storyline, right? And I'm interested to see if this is like a Rogue One ending or if they can tie the knot. Because I'll tell you right now, if they just ignore that a dark arts person was out there, it's if they ignore it or if they play it off like it's something else, that's going to be kind of stupid to me. You know something I don't know that you're nodding.
Yep.
Okay. I won't say anything else.
So I will say this from episode 4. I actually have this in my notes. My note is Soul does some serious emotional manipulation of Osha in this episode.
Of 4.
In episode 4.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too is like, is this an inside job? Like have they infiltrated the Jedi for years and years and we didn't know about it? But we'll see. And
I legit wrote this as my theory. I think Soul. Not only do we know there's more to Soul than he's letting on.
Yeah,
and I think that these are my episode 4 notes. That Soul is going to end up, I think, either leaving the Jedi Order. Or I think he's more involved with like the
I was
dark
just going to
side
say
that.
That might be the red herring because he's definitely invested in these two twins.
Yes. And he's also
and bringing them together.
He's also already pushed back several times on the Jedi codes.
Right.
And the rules that they have instituted. And obviously, like to your point, he is connected to the twins in a way that you're not supposed to be connected to as a Jedi during this era. And I think that is an interesting thread that they could pull on for the rest of the series.
Right.
It'd be interesting if that's the way they go.
There's also a lot of unknowns, like why. I mean, they played off why they were after the sisters as kids as, oh, they're force sensitive, but there's more to it than that. And again, there's more to it than that with, I mean, they're not calling them the Night Sisters, but you know, witches have been in Star Wars now for 20 years.
Sure. Absolutely.
So
I also understand. I think that this is something that a lot of folks are bothered with because it makes Anakin less special.
Sometimes,
with how these twins coming about, because now it shows that this does happen, that the Force you can conceive through the Force children on a pretty regular basis.
I'm hoping that's not what happened here and that there is a father, but or something. I mean, the problem is I don't think they'll do that. Actually, now that you mention it, Ray, because it goes back on certain things that they're trying to establish in the show. So we will see what happens. We will see what happens.
We will see what happens. But
show. Do you think it's possible that this might be the first attempt from a Dark Lord to create life? Because look, here's the deal, man. If they do that, then Plagueis has to be involved because that's what he does. He manipulates the Force. And I would not be against the Plagueis scenario here.
No,
really
me
wouldn't.
either.
Yeah,
me either. But I think that's the thing is that you've got 4 episodes. I've got 3 left. There's a lot of things they can do. I hope they land the X-Wing, but I am losing faith.
Okay.
Quickly.
Well, we'll see. Well, Ray, listen, quick Star Wars note aside from the Acolyte. Star Wars recently teamed up with Oreo to do the light side, dark side challenge. You buy a pack of Oreos. They could be red. They could be blue. We have gotten 3 packs. I've gotten 2 Siths and 1 Jedi, right? My daughter opened the Jedi. My son opened the Sith. And my wife opened one pack early without us knowing it. When I opened it, there were 5 missing. Guess what color those were? Darth
Sith.
Janet.
Of course, I was gonna say that is the most Sith thing you can do is to steal the Oreos
You can't
early.
steal the Oreo. If you're gonna steal them, it's got to be the Sith Oreos, though. The funny
Absolutely.
part was I opened it. So yes, everything I'm about to tell you is true. I walk into my living room. I have Star Wars theme playing on my phone in my pocket, and I present it to one of my children to open the pack. And Alina opened one, and I said, "And 5 are missing." And I looked over to the left to see my wife side eyeing me like, "What? What's missing? What happened?" And then my daughter goes, "Mommy, you took the Oreo." She goes, "I did. Excellent." And I'm like, what is happening right here? And then I turned it to the Imperial theme song, the Imperial March. It played in my favor. I felt satisfied as a dad, as a Star Wars fan, while the rest of my family thought it was lame. Wins all around.
Wins all around. Wonderful.
Or as the Emperor would say. Yes. Cackle.
Excellent.
All right, Star Wars. Let's see if you can land the X-Wing or the A-Wing or the Y-Wing, or is this just a Lambda-class shuttle without its wings? We'll find out.
This
Deep cut there for you Star Wars fan.
Some would say I find your lack of faith disturbing, and I'm like, oh no. This Star Wars has not been very good lately.
Well, you know what we should do, Ray, after this concludes, we should actually do our ranking of the Star Wars shows.
Sure.
And it should be Mandalorian season 1, 2, 3, the Book of Boba Fett, the Acolyte, Obi-Wan.
I definitely still put Mandalorian as of right now way ahead of this.
I think Mandalorian season 1 is the best thing that they've done on
100%. 100%.
You know, and then we can look at all of it, but I think we'll do an unofficial ranking of that. But Star Wars, wonderful stuff. I will say, Ray, greatest moment in all of Star Wars for me. There's been a lot of great ones, but it's when they're talking about dissolving the Senate in A New Hope, and the guy goes, "Don't try and frighten us with your sorcerer's ways. Your sad devotion to that ancient religion hasn't conjured up the Stilling Daisy plans." And then he's choking his boss, and then goes, "I find your lack of faith disturbing." Who doesn't want to do that? I look for situations in my life, as you just did, to say to people, "I find your lack of faith disturbing."
Yeah.
Enough of this. This bickering is pointless. Vader, release him as you wish. And I'm going to release this from this segment because I'm going to quote the whole movie if I don't.
Yes. Yeah. But you know what? There are going to be places where it might be really welcome for you to quote the whole movie. This is a big deal.
The Oasis?
Netflix.
Ready Player One is real?
No, we're getting there. Not quite, but we are getting there.
That was a book quote, not a movie quote. They
Yeah.
do that in the books. Read the book. If you haven't already, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah. If you love your fandom,
I do. I think anybody who listens to this show probably does.
Yes. Netflix is creating things called now Netflix houses.
Yes, they are.
That will let you experience your favorite shows and movies in real life. Usually these have been things that have been
What an idea.
Reserved for theme parks and stuff like that, Universal and Disney. But now Netflix is like, no, we're going to get on this and we're going to start doing it. They are going to open up 2 locations, I believe in 2025. One in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, very close to where Lee is, and the other one in Dallas, Texas.
King of Prussia is very close. It's 20 minutes from here.
Yeah. So basically Philadelphia, basically Philly and Dallas. There's gonna be a bunch of it's basically they're replacing the former locations of a bunch of closed down department stores, and each one is going to span about 100,000 square feet. And yeah, you're going to get sculptures, murals, characters walking around from your favorite shows. There's going to be cosplay. There's going to be rides and food and all that other fun stuff. And you will get to experience all your favorite Netflix shows, like it's Halloween Horror Nights at Universal or the Villains Parade or whatever at Disney. And it's going to be here, and it's going to be Squid Game, Money Heist, Stranger Things, Bridgerton, and many, many more of your favorite Netflix shows. Maybe we'll do a Cobra Kai thing.
It would make sense.
That would make a lot of sense. And it's going to it's going to be coming. Yes, 2025. Confirmed 2025 soon. So soon. And those will be the first 2. And who knows if those are successful, you might get more popping up around the country because, again, to Lee's point, what a concept.
What a concept.
These amazing IPs. And you can take them and put them in real life, and people can go to a physical place and experience them like never before and watch these things in a community in a big screen. And it's going to be owned by the companies that make this stuff, because it's not like we've been saying that for 7 years.
Hey, don't get vindictive about it.
Sorry.
I feel like I'm saying that wrong.
No, I think you got it right.
Okay. Hey, listen, it's a great idea. It's pretty cool to see these things are happening. Our mashup this week is going to be based off of this concept. We're going to be asking what fictional brand deserves its own theme park or quote unquote Netflix house. We're going to have some fun with that. Ray, this is pretty cool. I mean, they understand fandom. They understand people are diving in. They understand that there's a connection and they want to build community. Community is the key to businesses moving forward. I think a lot of businesses still do not understand that a rabid fan base that believes in you and your ability to communicate back to them that you appreciate that and believe in them is essential moving forward if you really want to create something worthwhile. And I think that's great that Netflix has done this. And I think, yeah, you're going to see a ton of copycats happen between now and 2030.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before the Great World War that ends television.
That's the thing, folks, is that TV and movies as you know them, they're gonna go away. It's gonna go away. It's gonna change. Things are gonna change, and IP is king, and Netflix knows that. And this is a huge investment on their part, but I think they're gonna make their money back in spades. Again, Disneyland and Disney World. That's the question: is that does Netflix limit this to a handful of locations, maybe like a Six Flags, or do they really try and put them like in every major city?
No, I don't. I think that you start slow and you build. If it works, you build. There's only 2 Disney parks when you really think about it in North America, I should say.
Right. You got one in Paris. There's one in Tokyo, and I think
no, you build it though it is. And again, this isn't Disney World. I don't think they're trying to do this. I think this is replacing the pop-ups, right? Like little pop-up stores. And they're just making a dedicated location and more importantly, Ray, a destination. King of Prussia houses the 2nd largest mall in America outside the actual Mall of America, which is the largest in Minnesota. And I imagine they're doing King of Prussia to test this for the Mall of America, which is right in the middle of the country, the northern half, but right up there. So I'm interested to see how this grows, But look, man, there's two sides to every Schwartz, and we'll see which side it goes. There's a good side.
I was going to say. Netflix houses the search for more money.
The search for more money.
Yeah. Of course, that for those who don't know, that is the famous.
Come on. That was a good segue.
That was
a good segue.
No, it was very, very good.
The good side and the bad side.
Yes, exactly. Those are lines, of course, from the infamous Star Wars spoof, the amazing, the immortal Spaceballs from the great Mel Brooks. And finally, there have been the attempts at continuing this franchise. They did a cartoon on G4 that was not great.
Horrible.
Many years ago. They're finally, though, with the help of Mel Brooks, obviously overseeing it.
Mel Brooks, who's in his mid-90s?
He's 95, I believe.
God bless you, Mel Brooks, for kicking it and being creative. God bless you, sir.
Yeah. And with the help of Josh Gad, who I imagine will play either a young Dark Helmet or the son of Dark Helmet.
You think so? He won't be Barf?
Maybe he'll be Barf. But I can also see him being Rick Moranis' kid, too.
I could see that, too. The point is this. Spaceballs 2 is in development. Yes! I'm not sure that we're comfortable saying it. Mel Brooks is involved. By the way, if you have not read his autobiography, fantastic.
All About Me. That's what it's called.
Such a good book. I mean, just from humble beginnings to creating a genre of humor. I mean, I would say he created his own genre within humor, and dealing with some of the greatest actors of his time. But Spaceballs 2 is coming. I'm all about this. I hope it's a Disney film.
I mean, I'm curious to see who will make it. If
Gad's involved, it's probably going to be Disney.
There's a good chance of that. That is true.
Right?
But
and Disney's not afraid to do rated R movies anymore. Not that this would ever be rated R.
Then again, he did stuff with Ghostbusters too, and that's not Disney. That's Sony. So
what do you do with Ghostbusters?
He was the ghost. He was the spitter ghost in the first in Afterlife.
Yeah, I'm not equating that. It's Disney. Spaceballs has to be Disney.
All right. I mean, we'll see.
No, I'll tell you why I think it's Disney, Ray, is because Star Wars is Disney and they're connected.
That's fair, but it's also a spoof, so probably it's a satire. You get fair use.
You're sounding what are you doing? It says it on my desk. I'm right.
I don't know. I mean, but look,
it's the opposite of what you're supposed to say. No, I'm just kidding. Spaceballs 2 looks like a lot of fun.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like it'll be. I cannot wait. I can already tell you now it's not Disney. Amazon's making it.
It's by Disney. That's right. Amazon is owned by Disney.
No, not yet.
Disney has bought Amazon.
It's going to be done through MGM Studios, which of course is
like
owned by
I
Amazon.
said, I'm always right. It's Amazon. Amazon would be making Spaceballs to compete with Disney. It's great.
Actually, that actually leads us perfectly into our next topic about what else is coming to Amazon. But also just really want to quick, if you haven't seen Mel Brooks, like Young Frankenstein, History of the World Part 1, like the producers, like obviously he's made some of the greatest films of all time.
I mean,
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yeah.
Again,
Listen,
Blazing Saddles. Again,
you're making a good
the
point.
list goes on and on and on.
You're making a good point that if you're under 30, you might not really know this man.
Yeah.
He has made some of the funniest films in history of cinema.
Yeah. Yeah.
Producers.
So, yeah.
We should say that. You should go see the producers, the original.
I said the producers, Young Frankenstein, Blazing Saddles, Robin Hood Men in Tights, History of the World Part 1. The list goes on and on and on and on.
That's out now too.
And two now. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, speaking of things coming to Amazon Prime, Warner Brothers, probably the best thing that looks like they've made in years, not going to be on HBO Max. It's going to be on Amazon Prime. Batman Caped Crusader. This is a cartoon that a lot of us have been looking forward to for a very long time because it's made by Bruce Timm, who, of course, is one of the minds behind the original Batman animated series. And even though it has kind of an old school Batman vibe, like you can definitely tell there's a retro style to it, like it's in like the 50s or 60s. Particularly also, especially with just the cars but with the fashion, including Catwoman's costume. But this looks like a really interesting take on Batman. This looks like it's going to be very true to what we think of as Batman in terms of the source material, even though, yes, you're going to have a Two-Face in there who isn't quite as cartoony as Batman animated series in terms of the multicolored skin and whatnot. You're going to have a version of Clayface in this. I really like what they've done with Firefly and Penguin, and again, the retro style looking Catwoman. But the trailer released, it's dropping August 1st on Amazon Prime. It will be bingeable. And I will probably binge it. Lee, I'm really excited for this. And I think it's funny that the best thing that Warner Brothers has made in a very, very long time is going to be on Amazon and on HBO Max.
Well, thank God for Amazon for understanding they need to get everything off HBO Max and away from Warner Brothers. Look, I think we've said this before, Ray, that DC heroes are almost always better animated and in episodic nature. So going back to the roots, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't after the power of X-Men 97. Why would you not do this?
Yeah.
It's just got to be done right.
Yep.
That's the key point.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's always what it's always been about is you got to do it right. You got to know them source material. Yeah. You need to know the source material.
Can we just say that one more? You got to know the source material. You can't just pull it out of your ass.
Right.
Oh, this kind of happened. No.
No.
That's not how this works.
Yeah. Like you can do your own take on it, but if you don't understand the spirit of the material and you don't understand where it's coming from, then you're not going to nail it. Fans are going to know, and we're going to get mad.
Can I give you an
example? And you wouldn't like us when we're angry.
Can I give an example of that?
Yes.
You gotta save Martha. Why did you say that name? Martha. It's his mother. Oh my God. Talk about one of the worst letdowns in movie history where everybody turned to the left and right. Like, are they really connecting? Are they really bonding over their mother's names being Martha?
Oh my God.
Like Batman wouldn't have known that?
How just so awful. Martha. So horrible.
That was a movie, Batman v Superman, that ignored the story, like we talked about. They ignored the material.
The whole Snyderverse outside of Man of Steel was absolute garbage.
Yeah, that was uncharacteristic of Batman in many different ways. And Superman, I don't believe would have behaved that way. I just don't.
Don't. No. Anyway, it just
way to go, Amazon. You're gonna save comics.
Yeah, you've already done it with Invincible, and now you're gonna do it. And the boys, and then you're gonna do it with Batman. Thank you for saving Batman, Amazon. So because you can't trust Warner Brothers to do it because they are all a bunch of C-suite failing upward morons, smooth-brained, mouth-breathing morons. Get the bus ready, Lee. Yeah. So anything.
Okay, go ahead.
Speaking of saving things, this is actually kind of funny. Esports really struggled post-pandemic. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but one of the most interesting competitions to have come out since the pandemic has been the fourth annual Candy Crush All-Star Championships. Yes, folks, we are talking about Candy Crush. We are talking about
It is alive and well.
It is alive and well. They just had last week the fourth Candy Crush All-Stars.
And guess who was there?
I was there.
Ray was there. Ray continues to be a staple in the world of gaming. I love that you went to this, Ray. I mean that.
Yeah, I mean it was a lot of fun. They had it down in Hollywood. They had it down here in LA, and the 10 greatest players this year in Candy Crush. Mind you, there's 200 million people across the world that play Candy Crush, right? Starting in March, they had qualifiers, they had rounds, all this. 15 million people participated. The top 10 of those 15 million were brought to Los Angeles for a chance at $500,000. The championship prize. Now, mind you, everybody who got there got something. 9 and 10 got 10 grand. 7 and 8 got 15. 5 and 6 got 25. And then 4 got 50. Third place got 100. Second place got 250. And the top prize was $500,000. That's $1 million. $1 million in prize money, folks, for Candy Crush. And credit to Ben out of Ohio, keeping it in the States. Love to see it. 24-year-old kid. I say kid because 24, boy, oh boy, do I miss 24.
That's a kid.
I miss 24 years old. But I saw this kid. This guy had a strategy. He was sharp. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He saved all of his best moves for the final. Now, credit to this girl. Now, this was a worldwide competition. 8 of the 10 folks came from the United States, so great to see America represented and keeping the title here in the U.S. But the second place finisher, Suzanne from Stockholm, Sweden. Wow. And credit to her. She knocked off Marissa, who ended up getting the third place finish, which is still $100 grand. Nice payday. She used all of her tricks. She used all of her power-ups and everything to get through to the final. And I get that because, it's a smart strategy. It's like, well, do I save this for the final but risk not getting there? Or pull out all the stops? Marissa, tough competitor, right? And basically Suzanne was like, I got to pull out all the stops because, again, $100,000 for third place, $250,000 for second place.
Smart move, yeah.
Right? Like, at that point, you got to be like, I just want to get to the final. Suzanne was like, that's a big difference. But Ben was so good. He had 5 power-ups still in stock, ready for the final. And Suzanne, she gave a good fight, but Ben was he just ran roughshod over her. He was the favorite going into this. If you were paying attention to the Candy Crush forums beforehand, Ben was a hands-down favorite as he moved through the competition, moved through the qualifying rounds. And, this was like this was Patrick Mahomes. This was the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like, it was almost a foregone conclusion. Obviously, you still got to play the game. You still got to win the game. But Ben from Ohio absolutely dominated. Congrats to him. $500,000 for playing Candy Crush. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And yeah,
Wait, give me those numbers one more time. How many people? It's 200 million, did you say?
So there's 200 million people who have played and downloaded Candy Crush. 15 million took part in the All-Star competition.
Wow. So here's what's amazing about that from the sports side. Okay, so 200 million is an insane number, but 15 million is too, because that means there are more people playing that game and competing than there are registered in hockey, basketball, football, and baseball in little leagues and youth leagues in America. So the odds of getting to this top 10 are way harder than making pro sports.
Yes.
And the odds of winning is probably
astronomical.
Astronomical. Probably way, way harder than being Shohei Ohtani or Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
When we say this kid out of Ohio, amazing job, this is insane. Like the astronomical. That means he is the best at this game. That's insane.
It's unbelievable. Another fun stat during the competition, 2.2 billion levels of Candy Crush were completed. Billion with a B.
I think the election should be decided by Candy Crush.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, we should, because they'd guarantee somebody younger wins.
That's that's a good
See
point.
what I'm saying?
I could deal with that. Yeah. No,
Ray, out of
absolutely.
Los Angeles, California, you are the next president of these United States. What do you want to do? Get the bus, Lee.
Candy Crush on every phone. Also, what was also amazing, he also got a championship ring.
That's
like
awesome.
legit diamond. Like I think it was diamond. I don't know. Don't quote me on that. But it looked like it was like diamond encrusted.
It was a very nice ring.
It was a very nice championship ring.
Beautiful.
I mean, unbelievable. And it was hosted by Brie Garcia, former WWE professional wrestler. She's a Hall of Famer, multi-time champion. And she hosted it. And it got, and I'll say this too. Actually, I really like what they did with the set and stuff. It kind of had like a game show feel.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is Candy Crush next year. Let me host it. That's it.
Listen, I'll say this, two things. Number one, Candy Crush All-Star Championships. Thank you for inviting my friend Ray. He is the best in the business at what he does. And I'm going to confirm what you just said. Bring Ray on as a host next year. You will not regret that one bit. He is the best. You want a diamond in the rough? Got one right there. Ray Carcillo, host of the 2025 Candy Crush All-Star Championship, powered by DoorDash and Geeks Who Like Sports.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
It's
no,
something.
Absolutely. No. Yeah. It's something else. But yeah, no. It honestly, this was a lot of fun to watch. Absolutely phenomenal competition, and it just shows. Look, competition in gaming is or can be as strong as ever. I know there was a lot of. Again, we talked about it. There was esports really stumbled after esports was taking over a rocket ship. The pandemic happened, and it really knocked the momentum out.
But it's
really
coming back. It'll come back.
It is coming back, and this is great to see. And this was really great to see. And I think that, again, Candy Crush is great because it's a mobile game. Anybody can download it. Anybody can play. And look, and next year, keep an eye on the Candy Crush forums. Maybe you could win $500,000 for playing Candy Crush. Could happen. Could happen to you. So
it could happen to you, even though we said that the odds of that are astronomical.
I mean, the odds are astronomical. The odds are astronomical.
No, but anything worth doing is going to be hard.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's like winning the lottery, but it's not going to necessarily
I think it's harder.
Anything.
I think it's harder than winning
the lottery. It's probably harder. Yeah. Another fun stat: 11.4 trillion candies were collected.
Wow.
Trillion across those 2.2 billion levels. It's a lot of candy that got crushed. It's a lot of candy.
Stats like this, it reminds people why Candy Crush has survived through time and is thriving, by the way, with a competition like this.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Candy Crush now has been around for over a decade, right? Like, I mean, it is often imitated, never duplicated, but it is the king of, no pun intended there, because that's also the game developer. No, but is the king of the match threes. And yeah, it was really fun to see, and it was really great to be there. And I appreciate everybody for who welcomed me there and had me be there. And I was there on, I was there on set, and I watched it all play out. And I mean, Ben absolutely crushed the competition. Pun was intended there. Pun 100% intended there. So,
well, Ray, you crushed this show today. It was fun.
Oh, thank you. So did you, my friend.
It
was a good one. We had a good time lunch, as always.
We had sports.
Crushed it. Yeah, he crushed it.
He crushed it. I just don't have any candy.
No, that's just a water bottle. It's not candy. So if you're listening at home, you're like, "What the heck was that?" Probably really got jumped there because it's an unpleasant sound. But sorry about that. It was a great show as always. And
tune in the mashup this Saturday. What fictional brand deserves its own theme park or Netflix house? This is gonna be a lot more fun than you probably think. There's a lot of good fictional brands that Ray and I are going to discuss to see where we're going to go in the fictional land of mashups. This Saturday. Make sure you listen to that.
Yes, no, for sure. But until then, thanks for watching or listening as always, everybody. We really appreciate it. For Lee, I'm Ray, and this has been the latest edition of Geeks Who Like Sports. Good night, everybody.